Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today we are talking the Emperor of Mankind, as we discuss the possibility that when the Heresy ended his original plan for humanity, the current 40k universe is actually playing out exactly as he intended. General spoiler warning to begin, as we will be discussing events from across the Warhammer 40k lore, so you have been warned. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. So the Emperor of Mankind, the man who for the last 10,000 years has spent every waking moment, every second of his existence, imprisoned upon the Golden Throne. And as we know, this is due in large part to the outbreak of the Horus Heresy and his son, the Primarch Magnus the Red, inadvertently ruining the Webway project. Whether you believe it was the moment Magnus shattered the protective wards, or the Emperor's duel with Horus, the fact remains his dreams and plans for humanity truly ended then. Or at least, so we've always believed. In truth, have we been subtly seeing hints and teases that the Emperor in fact did see another way? That despite the calamity that was the Horus Heresy, there was still a hope for the human race. And everything that has transpired since he ascended the throne, as bleak and as grim as it has become, is actually working out according to his new plan. Now, as always, when we're talking theories, take it with a pinch of salt. They are always unlikely. However, I have to say, the more 9th edition rolls along and the novels continue to come, the more I feel certain that the Emperor most definitely has a plan. Now, when the Webway project was ruined, the Emperor most definitely was at a loss on what to do next. I don't think there can be much dispute about that. He even says to the Custodes during the Master of Mankind, "I don't know what comes next." His lifetime's goal for mankind was shattered before his very eyes. And as we saw with him getting Vulcan to create the Doomsday device for the Golden Throne, which in the event of his death would destroy Terra, causing Chaos a blow they could never recover from, the Emperor did at least consider that he would lose. However, as the Heresy continued, the Emperor appears to come to the conclusion he would, or at least could, still win. Take for example during the short story The Bald is Set, where the Emperor and Malcador are playing a game of regicide just before Horus's forces arrive in the Sol system. It's here, in my opinion, that the Emperor realizes he can still win. Now, we've broken down this interaction before, and I've been pretty vocal about my love for the Emperor and Malcador scenes, but I have to say that this is a great one. The Emperor is clearly using this game to formulate a strategy of things to come, using it as a means to try and grasp victory from the jaws of defeat. And he has to berate Malcador into getting angry so that he truly plays to his best, which he does, even about to claim victory over the Emperor. However, in doing so, he helps the Emperor in realizing how he can achieve his victory. The Emperor making it clear as ever, Malcador himself is the key to the Emperor's victory in the Heresy. Beside it lay the last crystal card, its image that of an eagle, tearing out the throat of a serpent. Now, later in the Heresy series, during the siege itself, we are then given a glimpse into the future the Emperor can now see. A future after the Horus Heresy. In the novel The Fury of Magnus, the Emperor has a psychic conversation with the perpetual Olivia. And again, spoiler warning here, he has come to her to ask her to sacrifice her own life to bring back Malcador the Sigillite, who has been slain by Magnus the Red. And I don't believe the Emperor's doing this out of his love for his friend. He's doing this because he now knows Malcador is integral to his plan. He needs Malcador to assume the throne so he can take on Horus. Which is rather interesting, considering Magnus has not declined his offer yet. But that's a conversation for another day. In order to convince Olivia, the Emperor shows her his vision of the new future. Olivia threw back her head and screamed, endlessly, like the withered corpse she saw, locked within the Golden Throne. The Emperor knows his victory in the Heresy means an eternity of suffering for himself, the ultimate sacrifice by an Emperor for his people. 10,000 years and counting, locked within the Golden Throne. However, rather than make Olivia despair, there's enough within the Emperor's vision to convince Olivia that this future is worth fighting for. She sees the grim darkness of the future. She sees the horror of there being only war. The harsh and bleak existence of the Warhammer 40k universe. And it's then, when the darkness is at its greatest, there shines embers of light. A time when heroes long thought lost returned. Now this is obviously referencing the return of Rabute Guilliman. But note, it doesn't just say hero, it says heroes, not just one. So this is pretty much proof the Emperor undoubtedly foresaw the return of the Primarchs. And apparently the war that is unleashed upon their return makes the Heresy look like a simple skirmish. Though the outcome of this war is unknown, it's reason enough to give hope of victory. So is it just possible that here, before the Heresy had even been defeated, the Emperor was already working on his new plan, a path within the future to still ultimately defeat chaos? It certainly appears so, and it's one that required the greatest sacrifice to be made from him himself. Maybe now, after 10,000 years, the road to the great Imperium fightback has begun. The simple fact is, the moment Guilliman entered the throne room after his return, we can really make a logical assumption now that the Emperor knew this was his time to act. This is why he is being seen across the galaxy like never before, because it's been a plan in the making since before the Heresy itself even ended. The return of Guilliman is just the beginning. It really makes the Emperor's ascension to the Golden Throne even more poignant. We've always known he did it to make the ultimate sacrifice for mankind, to suffer in silence holding back the ruinous powers, so that mankind could continue to survive. However, now we know he not only did it for those reasons, he knew there was still hope for an Imperium victory to defeat the Chaos Gods once and for all. And it's even quite possible that he never knew it was a certainty himself, that it was just a hope, a possible future to come, and he didn't know himself if it was still going to happen until that moment that Guilliman walked into the throne room. However, when he did, he knew the fight was on, that this was the moment. It is why he spoke for the first time in 10,000 years, because now he could put his plan into motion. Like I said, it's why we have seen him active like never before. And it certainly makes you wonder more than ever just what the Emperor said to Guilliman. We know Guilliman was upset that the Emperor was matter of fact, feeling like his humanity had been stripped away. Which, to be fair, it may well have been. However, if there's one thing the Emperor has held on to, it's that plan for ultimate victory. It most definitely makes us look at the Indomitus Crusades in a different light. Are Guilliman's Indomitus Crusades just phase 1 of a grander plan? Was Guilliman simply told to begin the fight back, and to fear not, because the other Primarchs are coming too? Now, as much as I would love the Emperor to have said your brothers are coming too, it most definitely appears at the moment the Emperor we knew in the Great Crusade and Heresy has most likely had his humanity stripped away. And it does make sense for everything he has been through for 10,000 years. Do I hold out hope for that last trace of humanity left within him? You know me, yes, of course I do. Is it simply a tease of future Primarch returns? Yes, of course it is, undoubtedly. But that doesn't mean it's not something we can't get excited about. Is it happening anytime soon? No, of course not. Though I do feel the return of the Lion is getting closer than ever, which we'll talk about later in the week. But just how many sons will return? How many loyal Primarchs will return to the Imperium? Will we see them all, other than the confirmed dead of just Sanguinius and Ferrus? Although, let's be honest, like I've said, the spirit of Sanguinius is very much now back. You would certainly expect a few at least, if this war to end all other wars is to be unleashed against chaos. However, what excites me even more than Primarchs returning is really the confirmation that the Emperor saw this happening all along. As always guys, what do you think? Are you surprised that the Emperor foresaw the Primarchs returning even before the Heresy ended? That maybe, just maybe, this is all working out according to how he foresaw. And of all the possible loyal Primarchs returning, which ones do you see coming back? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below, I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.